All right, you guys, we're back here on our next one. And we're going to show you here. This is our custom little vanity in here. Joe's Custom Cabinets. They're the one who made this also. Beautiful cabinetry. So we already got everything ready to go, just like normal. And what we're going to do now is we're going to show you. We're going to be building 2 epoxy countertops for this guy. And I'm so glad that we did not build this on the front side, because it was supposed to be 36 inches across and then an additional 12, which would have made the 48 total. It ended up being 49, so our top is actually 37 inches long and then drops, then comes over the 12. So no big deal. We didn't make them already. We're making them now, so I'm glad that little inch difference there. We weren't stuck in between 2 walls and we would have had a setback. But we're going to show you. We're going to get right into it. We'll make a top from this. It's going to hang over about an inch. It's going to have a curve to it, and then a smaller top hanging over here so that we can get the rest of this bathroom finished out and back together. This is sharp. We got a mirror coming in that matches right here, and this is one of the one-piece toilets, and we bought this. These hold 250 pounds each arm. So we bought that as an aftermarket for this toilet to help the person, get up and down safely and okay. We got all the shiplap out here by the window, and then on into the shower, how we did that up. And then of course it was brushed gold hardware and a floor to match. So that's where we're at. And then we got the towel bars and another grab bar over here, and even tied it all in with the life proof, and then got a brushed gold vent down there. So this is where we're at. I just wanted to show you. Now we're going to take you down here to the shop and show you how to go about this. Okay, so we're down here and this is what we got going. So I'm going to tell you, we skipped over all the making, the top, all that stuff, and we wanted to get right into the epoxy part for a change. So I'm going to show you here. We bought a 6-foot butcher block right out of Lowe's, and this is what it looks like raw right out of the store. 6-footer. Remember, we needed actually 38 inches instead of 37. Normally the Vanity was 36. We would have cut it at 37 for the inch overhang. We'd have been good. It was actually 37, so we had to go 38, and this actually stayed at the 12. But what I want to show you the difference, this was the piece we had left off of our 6-footer when we were done. And as you can see, we did cut the depth only in the back, cut about 3 or 4 inches off, because these are sold 25 wide. We only needed to be 21 deep on the Vanity with an inch overhang, 22 inches. So both of those were not only cut to get our 2 pieces, they were ripped to our depth and what we need. After which, the first thing we did was just cleaned up our edges all the way around to get all the little fibers, the hairs off from the wood. Once we did that, that would allow the router to sit on here comfortably and glide across to pitch that curve over where we're boxed in right now. We took a 3/4 inch router to the top, ran it down, flipped it over, 3/4 routed on the bottom. That's how we got the pitch of the curve. I'm standing correctly looking at the Vanity. So this is the front lip, there's that right side, and then this is right there underneath, next in line, and then that is the front lip and right side. So they're both facing correctly. We have them lifted just to do the seal coat, and all we did, this is going to be a gold metallic top coat finish over this. So we used Bear Marquee. It's the ceiling flat. It doesn't have to be flat. It can be eggshell. It doesn't really matter. The sheen really don't even matter. The paint, I would suggest a better paint because it's thicker and it's going to help clog some of these pores. But the whole trick to the paint is, if you all remember the huge bathroom we just did with their 11-foot counter, we went with a black paint to really make all the epoxy coming down, sitting on top, make it darker and richer, and more elaborate. So this case, because we're going with the brushed gold and the brushed gold hardware and everything, we want to lessen that. We don't want the gold to be any darker. We want it, if anything, to be a little lighter. So that's why we chose the white. And also by painting one application over this, this will help clog a lot of the pores in the wood. It won't clog the majority. You will have quite a few breathing holes, if you will, in the wood left over. So this is just the first step. And again, it doesn't matter. We just wanted the white. So if it was a flat, a matte, an eggshell, it really doesn't matter. We just used it to bring the tones of the epoxy down and to help clog some of these pores. Now we're going to get right into the seal coat. We're going to show you the seal coat application, and we're going to talk to you about it because that is not the only one we're going to do. So let's get started. Hey you guys, so working with small, very small amounts of resin on a seal coat. Working with small amounts of resin, we like to use a digital scale. Okay, we're doing 24 ounces right there. So I've already got my 12 in right to the spec. Now that's going to say 24, and we are going to be dead on the mark. 0.01, 0.02, probably okay. Much more than that on such a small amount, and it could not cure correctly. That's why that small, do that extra step. Get you a little digital scale off Amazon. They're very cheap and inexpensive. That way you get it on the money every time. There you go. So part B went in first, then part A to the spec. Remember, that was our tearaway to the cup. Now let's get it mixed. All right, you guys, so here it is. Seal coat. Okay, we need 2 foam brushes, one big one and one small one. We'll get to those in just a second. So I want to try to make this as easy as possible. We had a buddy of ours reach out to us from Louisiana, Max, and he had some questions, you know, about the seal coat and things of that nature. So we're going to try to answer all those questions. First off, you can see, despite the bubbles from mixing, you can see all the way down in that cup, all the way to the bottom. See, and that all stems back to the ratio being correct, 12 and another 12, which was 24. It is right on the dime. So that is why it is so super crystal clear. If that ratio was off too much on a small amount, it'll be contaminated. You won't be able to use it. It won't harden right. It won't cure right, anything of that nature. Granted, it's a seal coat, and you can always put something over the top of that and fix it, but it's just an easy way to do such a small amount, and it'd be perfect every time. So we're going to go ahead and pour this out, get it going and moving, and I'm going to talk to you about it. And keep in mind, the white paint helped us seal these pores up. Not all of them by any means. Anytime we do anything raw wood, truthfully, you need at least 2 seal coats on, if not 3, and then you will not have any problems on that flood coat, pushing air up, bubbling, anything like that. So the cleaner you can get your seal coat, tighter and slicker, the better. But any little small imperfections, little lines, little anything like that, you don't worry about that. That's why you're going to do another seal coat. Now our paint acted like 1 seal coat. So we're going to do 2 more seal coats with the resin. Our flood coat will be our 3rd one going on top. But keep in mind, the paint acted as 1. So if you're doing a wood piece and you don't want any of this color and you want to show off the wood, we would recommend 3 seal coats then before your flood coat. That way you won't have any problems with that bubbling on the flood coat side. So we are good. Let me go ahead and get this stuff out here. Now I'm using way more than what we need, but I just don't want to have to mix up two different batches here. So I'm going to get a little bit on here going for me, just like this. That's what the squeegee's for. And I'm going to go ahead and let this come over here and just sit there a minute as well. Now there's a little bit left in that cup that I'm going to sit back here just in case I need a smidge more. Now, all we're doing, before I push any of this off anywhere, I'm going to get close to the holes. I'm going to get close to the edge. And we're just trying to make this little bit of resin spread. Now this is way too thick. I don't want a flood coat, but the smaller resin that you mix up, it just makes it easy to be able to get everything coated and I want good coverage. I don't want to have to sit here and be stretching a seal coat, you know, too far, getting the back, the front. And what I end up doing, now that all that is sitting here ready, now I'm going to go ahead and run around that circle. There you go. Now I'm going to run around this circle. There you go. And what I did by doing that, now that those are in there, I'm going to take this guy. That's what the smaller one's for, okay? I'm gonna get a little bit of this resin off here so it's not dry. And I'm gonna put this down right in these little holes. You don't have to seal these, we just like to. You don't have to at all. Nothing's gonna breathe down here and hurt you. I just like everything to be covered. If the holes are exposed, even though they're gonna be covered up, we just go on and get resin down in there also. It's just gonna make that shaft going in later, it's gonna make all that real slick and nice for you. So you can get a little bit of this resin here up top. And you just want it on these sidewalls down here, just to shut all that up. Because what you don't want is a bubble happening right on the inside of that circle that's coming up in your flood coat. That would really, you'd hate that, you know, after you got going with it. You would be upset that you didn't go ahead and seal these circles. It just makes so that there's no problems. And that's all we're doing. So once I get those good and gummed up, run that around a couple times, now it's real good and slick in there, and now we can finish. So now I'm going to go ahead and start shoving this right off the back and right on all my sides, kind of like a flood coat, so that I can get coverage over the edges and the curves. Anywhere you got a blank spot, that's what you're looking for. Now I'm just using this. This is where I start taking all this extra and looking and seeing where I need it. Come on over on this side, Tom. So see what I'm doing here? I'm just trying to get it covered. I don't care what it looks like right now. So now I'm gonna take some more of this off here. Look, I'm gonna shove it back here. Let that run over. Swipe it. Okay, swipe it. That's all you want. That's about as thin as you want. I'm just using all my extra before I don't have any extra. Just putting that on anywhere that it looks like I'm lacking. Just like that. See, it don't matter. Doesn't matter at all what it looks like, anything. Now that this is setting pretty good, now I'm going to go ahead and work on the other one. I'm going to save some of this up here because I haven't done that back section yet. I'm going to go ahead and jump over here. Y'all just bear with me. Stay with me, we're almost done. Seal coats are very simple. They don't take that long. And it's, you know, for anybody just starting out or getting into it, it's great practice because it's such a small amount. So if you mess something up, it can always be fixed. It can always be, you know, fixed with another seal coat or what have you. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but just from talking to others and listening to their problems with resin and everything like that, a lot of people, I think at this point right here, when they're putting this on, a lot of these lines you see up here, I think that's what bothers people and they're not really sure if that's right. You know, but it so is. A seal coat anytime you're messing with resin, doing anything with resin, just remember this. It has to look ugly before it can ever look pretty. It's no different than anything else you go to do in life, really. Okay, so now that that's done, now I'm going to get this other side over here and the back. So I'm going to bring some of this over. And remember, we still have the other little foam brush here. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that here in just a second. Because here's the reality. We're going to do another seal coat after this tomorrow. So that'll be 2 full seal coats plus the paint, which acts like a seal coat. So there is our 3 on our wood. So we are confident that nothing is going to breathe, nothing is going to mess up when we dump our flood coat completely over these projects. Everything is going to be picture perfect. So once you get all that to run off the edge, then I just slick it up with that Bondo squeegee. That's it. All right, we're down to this one. I need to get the back. Just get some of that on there. The way I like to do it is bring it over here. Just kind of let it run like that and then take it, look. You're just looking for the coverage. You're going to get the excess off here in just a minute. Right now, you want to get the resin to take. There you go. So now it looks like an utter mess. It's supposed to. Forgot a side over here, Tom. Yep. Right out front there. See how you just take that and just glide it across. If it's wet, you're good. Now we're done with this guy pretty much. So now here's what you want to do. Now that it looks like a big sloppy mess, you want to work your top first, leave your sides later, because everything I'm getting ready to do up here is getting ready to go over. So I'm just going to take it and pull. And I want all this over here. And I'm going to take this smaller guy here and kind of wipe that off. Angle your guy so he's going away so we can keep that back part clean. And just wipe that off. So this is just going to take off where we're too thick, too much up here. And lastly, get all that's left to flow over that face. That last little bit, it starts to get sticky now. My gloves are slipping and resin's a lot of fun, you guys. It is. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. It's really cool being creative and, being able to make things for yourself and not have to go out to a store and buy something, just to be able to create something. So it's just really, it's been a great experience for me and Tom over the years. All right, so as you can see, that looks a lot better now. We have slicked that up. And any of these little imperfected lines, anything like that, don't sweat that. That surface is perfect, it's beautiful. And keep in mind, the average flood coat is 1/8 of an inch thick. So if any of your messed up lines, you got a little hair, a little particle that fell in there, none of that's going to be an issue. None of that will be an issue. That's why we put this on here so thin. Most important thing about resin, there's a million things to know. It only takes one to make your project go south. So the more you do it, the more you keep trying, the better you're going to get, and the less stressful it's going to become. See, and if Max is watching right now, which he probably is, or he's watching at some point today, this is where he was calling, because I can see him. I can see little bubbles starting to form. I can see little tracer lines that were left behind from my Bondo squeegee, kind of like drywall work, putting your mud on. I can see all those. None of those matter. They're paper thin. We do another seal coat application, they're going to look better. They're going to be a lot more flatter. It'll look really good. Then when we go over with that flood coat, that's going to encase everything super thick, about 1/8 of an inch. And that's why all those little things you can see that probably drive you crazy right now, they're nothing to worry about. You don't have to worry about any of that. So on our flat sides, which we only have 2, yours may be different depending on your layout. We're going to take this Bondo squeegee on the flat side. Tom, if you want to come right over here and point this way. Where we have pushed all this off and got all this excess off. Now we're going to take this Bondo squeegee right on the side here, and look, we're raking every bit of that off, all the excess. Now this side looks just like the top, really flat. We're going to take this away from that corner, kick it off, and then back to me. Boom. Now that looks really good. Leave your curve size right now. This is just for, Tom, you might have to let me know if I got it all. I can't see. Look good?
Yep, go. Start right here and go.
All right, tell you what, let me just come back here with you. There we go. Yeah, I missed quite a bit there, Tom. Thanks a lot, buddy. All right. Now we got that one slicked up. And now right over here on our last side, away from the edge, watch it all come off. Boom, there it is. Kick it. And then off the front. Now, you are done with that guy. Okay, set this somewhere clean. Right up here. Now we're going to switch over to our bigger foam brush. You remember how I saved this little bit? Ha ha! It's for this, usually. Sometimes I got to dump it out. So all I did there, I just wanted that foam brush wet. I didn't want the dry hitting it, because the fibers of this foam brush, if it's dry and you put it on there and start moving, it'll let those little black fibers come right off in your piece, and we don't want those showing or shining through. So I'm going to reach right up under here. I'm going to start off the edge, 2 fingers, and I'm going to wrap that corner, and I'm going to pull that guy. See, that's going to slick him up. Remember, it doesn't matter right now if you see a couple little, you just want everything nice and slick. If you can imagine sap on a tree, we're just smearing that sap thin as a rail. That's the whole point. Nothing more, nothing less. And I go ahead and cheat and get my drips, because this is not a flood coat. Okay? Now I'm going to come out the front, same way. 2 fingers. Start off the corner. The majority of that, once I do that, any of that soaks in, I flip it. Get up top, and then roll under as well to catch all those drips. And then the same thing here back. Just like that. That's it. Now, where I went over there with the Bondo squeegee, I'm raking this the same way, and then I'm going ahead and getting under these little drips here. There you go. And you can always look down and make sure that where you've been thus far is perfect. But this is what you're looking for, okay? This is not going to look pretty. You are going to see little imperfections, little things that you can see with your eye. Don't worry about them. They're fine. Bam. That one's done. And the seal coat is really cool too, because this is the point where you can actually walk away from your project pretty much as soon as the seal coat's done. You don't have to worry about sitting back here and babysitting them drips and all that stuff. None of that matters. There's not enough resin on here dripping. It's not going to continue to drip because we've already gotten off the bulk. All that is left behind is just enough just to cover the surface. That's it. No extra. Shouldn't be sticking up past that any way, shape, or form. If, while you're waiting for your seal coat to harden, if you happen to see a bubble, let it form, let it come. Okay, when your seal coat is done, it's dry to the touch. You're getting ready to do another seal coat. We'll go over that on seal coat 2. It'll be the next video. We will deal with those. Any bubbles you have, anything like that, we will deal with those. Because we are going to scuff it up before we go on our next seal coat. That way, any little bubbles we do have, we'll buff them right out. If a little hole opens up after we sand over it, that's the point of the second seal coat. So with the paint, 2 seal coats, you won't have a bubble 1 to worry about when you pour such an expensive pour. So I can tell you this, anybody that knows anything about epoxy, if you've been doing it, if you get into your flood coat and you have bubbles, use a torch, they disappear, they come back in a matter of no time. It's because you were not sealed properly on the seal coat. That is the only reason you would have bubbles at that point that keep coming back. So there it is. We're going to let this dry. All its little imperfections, all its little bitty lines, none of this stuff matters. Let it all dry. We'll bring you all back in on part 2 of the next seal coat, and we'll show you exactly what we're talking about. And then you'll see when we go to sand, it's kind of hard to see because everything's white, but you will see them. We'll get the camera in there to where you can see. I can kind of already see a couple little bubbles that are trying to happen right now. So we're just going to let them go on and come, do their thing, and we will make any imperfection go away on the next seal coat. So hope y'all like it, hope you enjoy it, and hope this helps you at home. So stay tuned. We'll see y'all back real soon for the next one, seal coat part 2.